It's a mammoth dream house with a 42-acre vineyard. The only problem? They have no experience building a house.
He's got a lot of decisions that he's just not even comprehending he's going to have to make.
Or making wine.
What does she know about growing grapes?
And with a family to raise, a house to build, and a vineyard to start, will all the pressure cause their dream to go up in smoke? Find out on this season of Dream House.
This is two average people that set out to do this and are gonna make it happen, whatever it takes.
Is that good?
Yep. When we look up there, we don't see that place anymore. We see our place, we see the kids running around.
See little kids running through the vineyard and puppy dogs chasing after them.
For Stephen and Shannon Mackey, the dream goes well beyond building a home.
People are driving by looking at us thinking we're out of our minds.
I love that.
They're hoping to transform this abandoned 42-acre cattle ranch in Purcellville, Virginia, into their family home, winery, and vineyard.
That's all part of why we're doing this is, not only for our family, but for our friends' family. It's just such a neat atmosphere to grow up in that not everybody gets a chance to do that.
Just a wholesome kind of lifestyle for the kids. And believe me, the kids will be out here digging holes one day.
Tell everybody to bring out their dogs and their kids and their families and just come and enjoy it.
Stephen and Shannon were inspired to start their own vineyard 6 years ago at a wine tasting event.
Shannon was looking around and was like, wow, can you believe people do this for a living? She was like, how do people do it?
I just was like, do people really get to, like us, get to do something like this?
And I looked at her and I said, you wanna? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay. And that's how we founded our vineyard, just like that.
I thought to myself, I said, unless she took a minor in college I wasn't aware of, what does she know about growing grapes?
Got a nice splinter. Can't even see it, it's so small. It hurts.
This is two average people that set out to do this and are gonna make it happen, whatever it takes.
And we are far from millionaires.
They had actually planned on keeping that old nasty house.
We actually were staying here. Brought over a bed and, slept here. It's your place, it's your castle. I took a sledgehammer around to the side. I hit the house one time and the whole house just shook.
Condition of the house is pretty bad shape. It's really beyond repair.
You can see right in here the termite damage to the wood.
And we just stared at each other because we had all of our money tied up in this house.
But after being married here 2 years ago, Stephen and Shannon were not about to give up on this land. So now, in addition to starting the vineyard, the old house has to come down to make way for a 4,300 square foot new home and wine tasting venue.
What we were trying to make out of this was not our dream home. Now what we're building is our dream home.
The old house is a total loss, except for a few treasures.
Hey, check that out. This painting in the fireplace probably dates back to the Civil War era. We really, really want to be able to save that piece. Oh, sweet. We want to put it on display in the tasting room.
We want it to be not just a place that you come in and do a tasting and leave, but you come in and you stay and you hang with some friends and you hang with your family. And it's also for us. I mean, it's going to be our home.
But this gamble of a lifetime is going to require a staggering amount of debt.
When this initial budget came back, the initial estimate, it was twice what we thought we were going to be paying.
The total construction loan is approved for 1.2 million.
That's $820,000 to build the home and $380,000 to pay off the land.
These are numbers that we never expected to get to.
Wow, this is really gonna happen.
I know.
And even with the help of a winemaking consultant, it will be years before the vineyard makes a profit.
It's the first vine we ever planted. Typically in year 3, you will get a small crop. Around year 7, you start to break even.
We don't spend money on a lot of clothes. We don't, I mean, all those things get cut back. You just, because those aren't important to us. What's important to us is the house that we're building.
The house.
Until the vineyard is making money, Stephen and Shannon will have to keep working their full-time jobs as event planners.
It's already eating at me and we haven't even started yet.
You just keep moving. Just keep moving is the key.
They also have a 10-month-old son in a one-bedroom rental house.
Right now, in the middle of the night, when he wakes up, all he has to do is pop up on the side of his crib and he's yelling at us to get out of bed.
And to hold down costs, they will have to do a lot of the work both on the home and in the vineyard themselves.
We've had this dream in our mind for quite some time. When I look up on that hill, I see it already. It's like I know it's coming.
It's all worth it. You know, and you're beat up, you're tired, you're sweaty, you smell, and there's your grape. Those little things that we stuck in the ground today will eventually fund this whole thing.
We keep taking on so much, and we're doing it because we're hoping it will give him a better life, but then you wonder, are you completely messing up his life in the meantime?
Who's that?
I wish there were more people like Stephen and Shannon that were, first of all, romantic enough, and second of all, brave enough to go ahead and try something like this.
I guess we don't realize our own limitations yet. We have faith in each other.
But none of it can happen until they clear the way for a new foundation.
I just kept digging down and finally got down to these pieces. This is the original hearth from the 1807 log structure. We're definitely saving these. These are going in the new house somewhere. That's pretty cool.
But the rest of the old house has got to go.
And we're good to go.
This cat ain't playing with his backhoe, man. He means business. I mean, I thought I was going to be really pumped, but it's kind of mixed right now, you know? That was someone else's dream house 200 years ago. It's taken, what, 5 minutes and it's just gone.
The dream starts today.
But when the real work begins, will Stephen and Shannon be able to keep up?
Right now, we have to double up and burn the candle at both ends in the middle to make it happen.
Or will the dream go up in smoke?
We don't know how we're going to make this work.
I mean, it's going to be right to the wire.
On day 2 of demolition at the Mackey's Vineyard in Purcellville, Virginia,
We're going to move down through here and knock the rest of the buildings down.
the last of the outbuildings are finally coming down.
Man, we can't wait to knock those down. As much emotion has been tied to the house, there's no emotion tied to those old sheds and outbuildings.
But now, time is running out to salvage what they can from the 200-year-old cabin they were forced to tear down to make way for their dream house.
I thought we'd have maybe a couple of good logs, but it looks like we got some really good pieces in there.
Yeah, still got char on it from being up in the fire.
This iron rod once held a kettle over the home's cooking hearth.
It's just sort of a piece of American history. And, you know, this thing was built into those rocks 200 years ago when that original fireplace went in.
Everything they find will add to the vintage charm of their new 4,300 square foot winery and dream house. Stephen and Shannon came up with a unique floor plan that serves as both their family home and a wine tasting venue for their new vineyard.
One thing that we've set out to do is create a timeless design that could look like it was built 200 years ago.
The old world feel will come from the framework of massive beams known as timber framing.
When anyone walks into a timber frame, everyone does this. You know, your eyes are just drawn up to the rafters.
Under the huge timbers, The main floor will be devoted to a 600-square-foot open kitchen that can double as a wine tasting bar on the weekends.
It's just a great place to line up the kids for breakfast in the morning and to be able to eat meals together as a family. And then on Saturday 11 to 6 and Sunday 11 to 6 is the tasting bar for the public.
Above the kitchen and tasting bar, there's a catwalk.
So people will be able to sit all around here, walk all around here, and then this is all open to below. Above that is the music loft where we will have live music performances.
But not all of the house is public. Their private living quarters will be in the basement, below the tasting bar.
One of the things that's critical is being able to shut that door. So there's a downstairs. No one's allowed down there. That's for us, for our kids.
But even the family's living space is designed around the vineyard.
You know, we joke about this is the romantic wine industry, but this is one of the things that's very real about this whole thing is, you know, getting dirty. Shannon designed a way for me to get in from the outside and go straight into the bathroom without having to come through like the family areas and getting dirt and possibly chemicals exposed to the rest of the family.
But the most important rooms are the 3 bedrooms and nursery that they hope to fill with children.
We put a nursery right in the master suite with no door. So Shannon rolls out of bed, takes 2 steps, and there's a bassinet and a rocker in there.
I think it'll be ready for baby number 2.
But it all adds up to a huge financial gamble.
It's our livelihood in the future.
And with the demolition work almost finished, there's one more vintage piece to save for the new vineyard.
I kind of like for him to try to save this corn shed. Structurally, it's in good shape.
Who knows what we could use it for, but it's too interesting of a piece to just bulldoze it over.
You scratched it. There's a word I want you to get real familiar with. It's called character. Every time we mess up, it's character.
Character.
Now there's just one old barn left to go.
Finally. Oh, look at that.
He just peels the roof off like he's peeling a tuna can.
The land gets more and more beautiful every time one more piece gets pulled away. I can't believe that the view can change that much in one day. Everything that's been in our head is coming out, you know? And it's just like, before it's just a vision on our minds, and now it's unbelievable.
But breaking ground will require the biggest gamble yet.
I was coming out here expecting to see water shooting 50 feet in the air. And I saw these boys are still drilling.
And no water means no vineyard.
That would just be tragic.
After 2 full days of demolition, the land is finally clear for the Mackeys' dream house overlooking their new vineyard in Northern Virginia.
To be able to, once this is cleared and have this blank canvas, and to really be able to visualize what it's starting to come together and look like it's just thrilling.
But the day's work is far from over.
These are the new vines we planted 3 weeks ago, maybe? If you left the vine to its own devices, it would just be a wild bush just growing wherever. You want to control where and how the vine grows.
We very rarely get downtime. We never get weekends off. We know we have to hit the next task, and if one of us doesn't do it, then we're gonna be behind even more. You've got to make sure you're covering all bases, so it usually just means we're tired.
We think we're building this dream that eventually will be self-sustaining.
But without water, the dream will die.
And we're here to drill these people a well today.
And they can't even get a building permit until they have a water-producing well.
We hope to find them some water.
Drilling a new well will cost $10 per foot.
Right now we're approximately 70 feet. No water yet.
I was coming out here expecting to, see water shooting 50 feet in the air. And I still, these boys are still drilling.
And there's no guarantee they'll ever hit water.
There's always a chance that we'll hit a dry hole. So, you just never know.
At 480 feet, there's finally a breakthrough.
What's the word?
We're down 480, and we've got about 1 gallon per minute. We have approximately 1 gallon per minute, which would be a legal amount of water, provided that they drill deep enough.
Seems kind of weak, doesn't it?
But I kind of got the feeling from the owner he'd like to have a little more water than that.
Imagine a harvest festival where we have grapes coming in from the field and we're cleaning equipment. And in here, we're going to have 60 people drinking wine, using the bathroom, all of that stuff. A gallon a minute, there's no way. So what happens now? I mean, you just keep going or it's just not down there?
I would recommend they go to at least 800 feet, but ultimately the decision would be theirs whether to keep going.
If you have to pull out of that hole and go dig something else, we still got to pay them to dig that dry hole. I mean, that's just money wasted.
He's got a lot of decisions that he's just not even comprehending he's going to have to make between now and the time this house is finished.
Let's just keep going, man, and see where we're at the end of the day.
But after another 120 feet of drilling and another $1,200, the well isn't producing any more water.
That well's not going to work. I mean, not at a gallon a minute, not for, we're going to have events in here with 80 people.
Digging a new well would not only break the budget, it would hold up the schedule as well.
We've already set a date for the timber framers to show up. And if that place isn't ready to go, we could slip months. I mean, that would just be tragic.
We got to keep the schedule moving. If that one will pass and we'll get the building permit, let's do that. And then if we have to drill another well later, we have to drill another well. We have to drill another well anyway, so let's make use of what we've already done. We just have to spend another $10,000 to drill another well at some point down the road. Because this well will not do events and a winery.
And with water in short supply, it's time to torch the debris from the old house they were forced to tear down.
Safety's always in your mind when you're burning, so we've got a big water tank we're going to bring in here for safety.
But fire is the cheapest way to clean up the mess.
It's $55 a ton?
Yeah.
Probably north of 10 grand to go dump this stuff somewhere.
We've got to save money wherever we can.
It's sad in a way.
Yeah, it's very sad.
And I was telling the guys earlier, I was like, that is someone else's dream house.
Yeah, I do
pit.
feel bad about that.
And the thing that kills me is, 200 years from now, will that be our house? And time marches on.
Yep.
A long year ahead.
Just leap and the net will appear. And that's what we've done so far.
But the schedule hits yet another unexpected delay.
I thought it was going to be this week, but I guess it may be next week now.
Just as the Mackeys get unexpected news.
Now I'm more anxious than ever. We need to get in this house.
Ten days after work began, Stephen and Shannon's dream house is finally taking root on the hill overlooking their vineyard in Northern Virginia.
Our understanding of what's going to happen today is we're going to pick the building site and orient the house. What do you think, Tristan? Where's your room? Where's your room going? It's that first feeling of actually seeing in reality what you had been picturing in your head.
This is your tasting room right here, right?
This is kind of like a design phase where we can sort of close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting at the tasting bar and what do I want to see out the windows. So let's take an eyeball from right in here somewhere.
Hey, y'all want to stand in the bucket? Okay, raise it on up. He's going to take you up slow. Now that right there is about the center of your tasting room.
Oh, that's cool.
Looks like I want to drink wine. Inspiring.
It's definitely getting easier every time we come out here to see the vision unfold.
I can already hear it in my head, like I'm standing at the bar, looking through the window. We're open for business. Kids are running around.
It's funny, I was hearing glasses clink in my head too. Clink, clink, clink.
It's like we're there.
But none of it can happen without a building permit.
I thought it was going to be this week, but I guess it may be next week now.
There's just so much development going on in the county of our paper is number 50 in the stack of 500, so, you know, it will get done when it gets done.
But nobody expected more than a month to go by without a permit.
Things were moving, everything was, you know, feeling so good, and then everything stopped.
And by then,
As a woman, you just get those feelings, you're like, wait a second, I think I'm pregnant. So it was just like, oh, here we go.
and now the due date for the new baby is just 6 months away.
Yes, we were hoping to get pregnant at some point in time, but the more we were looking at the house and everything going on and the vineyard, we just thought, you know, let's be smart about something for once and let's wait a little bit before we decide we're gonna try.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. As soon as we found out I was pregnant, I was banned from the vineyard because the chemicals are just too dangerous.
Along with the safety concerns, there's budget impact as well. I mean, you know, Shannon, there's another set of hands that now has to be hired.
Another thing to add to the whole list is we talked to our consultant and he's like, you really should be making your own wine this year. So now we decided that we're going to empty out the garage and we're gonna make the wine and make it here, which, okay, let's add something else.
We don't know how we're gonna make this work when the baby comes. We're doing all this for our children,
family,
and that's
yeah.
just sort of how we come back around and justify all of the craziness.
The pregnancy is definitely compounding all of the angst with the house. I don't think we're gonna be in before the baby comes. I mean, it's gonna be right to the wire. Every minute counts even more so right now.
Next time on Dream House.
What happened? Wall tie break?
A concrete catastrophe.
Is it structurally sound? Is it gonna fall apart in 5 years?
A winemaking mess.
Easy. Well, that's popped out. Keep going. You sure?
And the dream is taking a toll.
The next 2 weeks are gonna be absolute crunch time.
Just worn out, man. Just totally worn out.
That's next time on Dream House.